Hello? Hello. Does this still work? Yes, it does. Perfect. Whoa, look at this video inception. Very cool. Hello, one viewer. I hope you are doing well. All right, let's see. What's going on here other than probably a whole lot of nothing? The answer is nothing. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. That. Let's see. Plug this in. All right, let's move this guy over here, if I can do that. Whoa. anyone who may be interested. Let's see. Hello, one viewer. In case you're wondering what's going on, just give me one moment. I am just going to share that I am live. Let's see. Just need to grab a link to share. There we go. Okay. Just wanted to say, okay, Nick9411, just wanted to say your vids and streams have helped me tremendously with my patience and alert sitting game. Thank you very much. Hell yeah, dude. That's what I like to hear. I am very happy for you. I hope you I hope you keep it up. And I'm also glad you like the videos, so I will hopefully be making some more soon, but I guess I'm having fun experimenting with some live streaming. And I know I'm not really trading because this market is crap, but at some point I probably will. Hello, Peter. I hope you are doing well too. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just share this and then one option chat. Know what I'm doing. Bam. All right. I have shared that link. We'll see if anyone wants to join. I'm assuming most people have probably been falling asleep, so we'll see. We shall see who decides to show up, if anyone. And let me go ahead and clear some of these things. Carvana, don't care. Home Depot, go ahead and reset you. NXPI, also reset that. Hood, I will also reset you as well. I want to talk about Hood because there's a good lesson there. JPM, cool. All these other things, just resetting these alerts. Am I going to take these trades when they trigger? Hell no. Unless this market decides to wake up, I am just sitting on my hands. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to see a few people join. I'm assuming from the one option chat room. You guys are all probably bored out of your damn minds, which so am I. It's partially why I'm streaming right now, to just not fall asleep. Give me some extra motivation to go through and look at some charts. Mainly what I'm doing right now is, yes, Peter, very boring day, just like yesterday. And also, if you take a look at the background, right, you might be wondering, what is this crap here? What is this tiny stuff? This right here is the 5-minute chart of SPY since last Thursday. It's been a week since we had that pop on the FOMC. And then ever since then, as you are probably very well aware, we've had this torturous, slow dip, drip, drip, drip. And now it seems like, okay, well, maybe some of the dripping has stopped, but it still is nothing to trade. So the reason I'm so zoomed out here is because I am just trying to look at this as a whole to fight off any kind of temptation to go long, which, by the way, I don't really have right now, but it's more so just a reminder of what would get me excited to go long. I'd want to see a breakout above this M5 trend line. Nothing too crazy. I certainly wouldn't go long the instant it breaks it. I would want to see the volume pick up, which if you look down here, you can see on this breach of VWAP and SPY, there was a little pop and, nothing to get too excited about, right? If you see this breakout above VWAP and you're like, hey, now's a great time to be putting on some trades. Well, I wouldn't be so quick to do that because you can see today we've tried, I don't know, 10 different times to break up a VWAP. And so right here, when you see this, sure, you're getting a little nice follow through on okay volume, but this price action here and here and here and here and here for that matter tells me that we're not going anywhere fast at all. So I would expect VWAP to be retested, and that's pretty much what we're getting. And even if we start to get some follow through here, that's cool. But personally, for me, it's a little late in the day to do any kind of like day trading. So, I just wouldn't get too excited about this. And again, the price action we have seen since last Thursday to where we are right now tells me nothing is happening and nothing probably will happen other than maybe we see some more excitement tomorrow. I don't know. End of month buying. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really not expecting much because, again, this is also a holiday short week. And so can't really expect much. And you shouldn't expect much because there's just really nothing going on. And there's probably going to continue to be nothing going on. So, to everyone who is in here, you guys, like I said, are probably bored out of your damn minds, just like I am. So, totally sympathize and empathize. I understand it's boring. The best thing you can be doing right now, though, is not letting that boredom get to you in a way that you're like, I might be able to just throw on a couple of trades. Let's look for some hot stocks. So you go into heavy buying or whatever scanner you're using and you say, oh, hey, look at Robinhood. I like that. Here's the daily chart. Maybe not too bad, right? Gradually going up. It's choppy. You can see that, right? Hey, you know what? I'm going to go for it. It's up for the day. I like it. Let's do it. So you go to the M5 chart and you're like, okay, whatever, big gap up. Doesn't fill in all the gap, but fills in a little bit more than half of it. Okay, let's just see what happens here. You get a higher low, and then you set an alert here, right? A horizontal alert line to see when it gets above VWAP. And you see this breakout here, and you're like, wow, this is great, right? You've got these higher lows, you've got heavy volume, you're getting stacked green key bars, and you're getting follow through, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and open up a trade. And it's like, you're thinking to yourself, we don't make money on the breakout, we make money on the follow through. And so you're like, well, here's the follow through, right? This is great. The thing is, though, personally for me, especially on days and times like this with crap like this, I just, first of all, don't really care for going long. But second of all, on something like this, I would much prefer to get a retest of support at what was resistance and is ideally now support. And so the moment you go long in Robinhood, right, your plan, you need to make sure you've got it laid out, right? So your plan in crap like this should be don't trade. But if you have to make a trade because you think you have a decent setup, you have to decide, Am I going to be quick and nimble, meaning I am in and I am out? Or are you willing to hold off and perhaps, you're more willing to lean on the daily chart depending on what your goal is, right? Maybe you're thinking that Robinhood, as soon as the market finds support, this is going to go higher or whatever. But the thing is, you got to have a plan, right? And so chasing something like this is dangerous because, again, you don't have a market tailwind whatsoever to really support your trades. And that's another thing that's dangerous about days like today, right? If you go back and look yesterday, right? Nothing was really happening, right? We were just chopping about, falling asleep because this shit is so boring. And then out of nowhere, according to Harry, some dude or person decides to drop their 15,000 futures contracts. And all of a sudden, you get this big ass drop here. And it's like, shit, where did that come from? And that's the thing that sucks about days like this is that one, you don't have a market tailwind. And two, if you do decide to go long, you're susceptible to some random thing like this happening or some recycled news headline drops and it just causes some selling. And all of a sudden, when you get into Robinhood right here, and then it just pulls back for seemingly no reason, you're like, well, now what do I do? Hopefully, you picked a chart or a stock that has a good daily chart because then, you have the strength that you can lean on. But again, you just don't have the high probability trading environment right now. You don't have that market tailwind, and your probability of success is just going to be lower. And so, for that reason, I just recommend don't trade. Just go through your charts and set alerts and, or I don't know, add stocks to watch lists so that when the market eventually does find support, you will be able to jump onto that. And when the volume comes back and buyers come in, you'll know exactly what you're looking for and you'll be ready to fire off. So, as boring as it is to flip through charts on a day where jack shit is happening, just like the last week, be ahead of the game so that you're not caught not ready to take advantage of buyers returning. And so that's basically what I have been doing here is just been flipping through charts today, setting some intraday alerts just to, you know, observe the price action of some stocks that are moving nicely. And not because I'm going to trade like GE, for example, just more so just to watch to see how it pulls back. What's the price action like? Is the volume doing anything funny, etc. One stock I do like, and that I pointed out in the chat room, is BBWI. And you can see it broke out above the high here. And then we've just had this really nice grind higher. This is the kind of stock that is excellent to day trade. Pretty much all environments, but especially a day like this, because this is just really nice, tight price action to the upside. There's no insane dips or anything like that. Sure, the volume isn't low. And again, I wouldn't recommend just running into this, but this is the kind of stuff that you should be looking for. And I like BBWI because it's breaking through this longer term 1OTL or the proprietary trend lines as part of Option Soccer Pro, this high plus trend line to the upside, which also happens to be a 14-month high. So I really like this one. I think that if the market does regain its strength soon, this one could definitely go. So, I'm watching it. I'm not going to jump the gun early though, right? But I'm definitely watching it. GE is also another nice one too. The stock has been damn strong for a long time. You can see it's starting to break out to a new high here. I like it. It's been strong and it probably will continue to be strong. So let's see. Let me take a look at the comments real quickly. From Tony, your live streams are super helpful. Following you and reading all of Pete's material, I think, is a winning combo. So thanks again, and please keep it going. Hey, thank you for the nice comment, and I'm glad it's been helpful for you. You have a question for me. For a day trade, if the market finds support and starts to move higher on confirmation, but the stock never retraced or dipped due to relative strength, you would just let it go, correct? I guess it really just depends, Tony. Context is everything. And if you have a stock that, did not retrace whatsoever, maybe it was compressing or even moving higher, that's a good stock. And yeah, I generally do like to buy pullbacks. That would be a stock I would consider perhaps just going in because clearly when the market's chopping around, the stock is holding itself up. That's a sign that the stock's got some strength. Would I rush into it? Maybe, maybe not. Again, it just really depends on market context, but longer term and shorter term for the stock, right? If you look at something like, I don't know, ALK or UAL, airlines are strong today, right? Like I see this price action, I'm like, hey, this is kind of nice. I probably wouldn't rush in to buy this at the high of the day if the market started getting a little bit more aggressive, just because I don't really give a damn about this daily chart, right? Sure, you could lean on the 200 SMA, but you can see how choppy it is, right? You see these failed attempt to get out here, couldn't even get to the SMA before dropping here. So it's really just contextual and depends a lot on the stock longer term. So I know that's probably not the best answer, but generally speaking, yeah, I like to buy pullbacks, just a little bit dip into the longer term trend. And, market, of course, it depends a lot on that too. But to give a correct, direct answer, not on this market. I wouldn't just rush into anything. Ross, how long did you paper trade for becoming consistently profitable? Great question. Um, it took me about, I want to say, let's see, I started paper trading in August of 2022. It probably took me about, I think it was until July last year. So, like, what is that, 10 months? Maybe more? Wait, what the hell am I talking about? That's more than 10 months. Oh, that's like, okay, almost a year, basically. Um, yeah, it took me, I don't know. I don't know if that's a long time. I'm just gonna say it's average amount of time. I went from knowing nothing about trading and technical analysis to, um, hey, I'm picking stuff up and I'm slowly learning things. So it's best to just have the mindset of like, should I get this done down in like 5 months or anything, and just try to just like not worry about timelines as much as you can. Just focus on the whole process of learning and picking things up. That way you're focused on the right things and not the, stressing yourself out because you've been paper trading for 15 months and you can't figure it out. Um, not saying that's what you're thinking, but I think a lot of us might tend to think like that, especially because, a lot of us have tried to jump the gun and be like, I don't need the whole 2 years thing. I don't need a fucking paper trade. I want to make money right now. And that's not the mindset to have, because part of the whole process of paper trading and everything is that you're showing yourself you have discipline and patience to stick to paper trading and or one share, even when you feel like, I could just do it right now. That discipline aspect of just sticking to it is very underrated. And so just something to think about. Um, Tony, thanks for the answer. Makes sense. Market first. Yes. One thing that well, I don't know, I guess I think about from time to time, but just kind of in general, if you're struggling in this market right now, or if you're ever just like struggling and you're like, I can't figure this shit out. First of all, just remember that this takes time. It's hard. You're not just going to figure it out even in a year or whatever, right? It takes a long time to even get a remote way of connecting the dots in your head, so to speak. But when you are kind of stressed out because you're like, I don't know what to do here, my advice is number one, always try to embrace patience. But of course, you know that, right? But number two is really step back and tell yourself, market first, market first, market first. Imagine Pete is there trying to hypnotize you with, I don't know, a whatever hypnotists use, a clock. Sorry, I'm a dumbass sometimes. I don't even really know what it is they're using. But anyways, they're trying to hypnotize you, right? Imagine Pete is doing that and he's trying to ingrain in your head, market first, market first. Can't really get that out, but market first. Think market first, right? You are trying to trade the market. And so if you're just forcing trades right now and it's not working out and you're like, why isn't this working out? Well, just look at this shit, right? Would you go long the market right now? Probably not. Would you short the market right now? Probably not. If you try to short right now, at any moment, buyers could just decide, yup, I want to get in here. And then you would be caught and you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So it's really helpful to kind of frame things as like, would I go long the market here? Because that's kind of ultimately what we're doing when we trade this edge, right? Relative strength and relative weakness. We are trying to trade, quote unquote, the fastest horse out there. And so when there's just nothing going on, that's your signal. Just don't do anything and pay attention to your emotions and or your discipline, right? If you are just feeling antsy or whatever, like recognize that. Like it's okay to feel like I got to put on a trade or whatever because it's just a thought and a feeling, right? The important thing is that you don't actually act on it. Um, and that's where discipline is born, is when you are feeling that and struggling and you just don't give into that temptation and gradually over time, especially if you go through this whole stretch of not making any trade, if you can do that, like congratulate yourself because this crap is crap. And I guarantee you there are a lot of traders out there who are trying to force things and it's probably not working out very well for them, right? Um, so markets like this are especially easy to kind of just fall into the trap of like, the market's good enough, it's got some support, I can go long. And then the trade doesn't work out and you don't really have a plan. And then you start revenge trading because you're like, damn it, like I just lost money. Why did I do that? That's so stupid. I got to make it back now. Hey, look, here's Alcoa. It's up 4.2% today. I'm going to go long right now. And then all of a sudden it just pulls back. And you didn't really care because you're acting emotionally and you've got a shitty daily chart like this, right? This is the best time to build the discipline, the mindset, the patience that you need to do the right thing so that when the market is moving, you already know you're a freaking monk who can sit still and wait for the opportune moment to strike. And that's, in my opinion, the hardest part about trading is just waiting for those opportune times. Um, Seriously, if all you do is just trade bullish trend days and otherwise swing when the market dips and you get that bounce back, you're going to hit that 75% win rate and profit factor of 2.0 very easily, in my opinion. If you can just sit through, you know, stuff like this and just wait for the good days to come. For example, March 1st of this year, which was this guy right here, we had a breakout to new all-time high. This was an excellent bullish trend day. This is the day where I took 17 trades, which, was way too many, but I won on every single one of them because the market was just grinding higher all day long. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And then this crap right here is like trying to catch a fly with chopsticks in the air. If you get it, you're going to eat a fly, which, not very good, but it's also hard as hell to get anything going because you just don't have that market tailwind. So all you got to do is just wait for the best, highest probability days. I know that sounds so stupid and simple, but it really is just that. If you just sit and wait, you're doing way, way better than most people. Like 95% of people. You're not being FOMO Joe and just jumping into whatever has a pulse or whatever. You are being patient and you are waiting. And I always like to say this to myself and to others who are struggling. All you have to do, think about it. You don't have to put on a single trade. You could just sit there and you're going to be doing better than, what is it, like 80% of traders? 80% of traders lose money. So just by opening account and just sitting and watching, you're doing better than all these other people who are trying their ass off, but don't have the discipline and or patience to do the right thing. So just think about that. All you got to do is nothing and you're already doing better than most people. That's silly. And obviously, we want to make money, but just something to keep in mind. Maybe that helps to motivate you. I don't know, but yeah, I always think about that sometimes, and it's kind of humbling to be like, damn, why did I take that silly trade when I could have just waited? Okay, Peter, how do you allocate capital for each trade? Do you use the same amount of capital for every trade to manage risk return portion? No, I don't. My how much size I use is very much dependent on my thesis for the market and the stock and how much am I super bullish? Am I kind of bullish? Where is support that I can lean on the daily chart? There's a lot of things that go into it. Um, and so I have like a general size I will use for like my full size, but by no means am I always using the same size. I am generally, especially in non-super bullish markets, I'm pretty much always trying to put on starter size positions and only adding once I have confirmation that, yeah, the stock's doing what I want it to do. Um, so no, I don't always allocate the same size, but I have general ideas of like, yeah, I want to use a quarter size, and I kind of have that number off the top of my head. Tony, it sounds to me like your use of alerts is what helped you the most with patience, FOMO, etc., and you got to the point of being consistently profitable. Exactly. It was last summer. I think I shared this in the chat maybe a couple of days ago, where Pete was like, he put a comment in the chat where he's basically like, this is what's going to happen because we had this nice run up here, right? And this is one of those moments where it's like it's damn easy to make money because the market's just chugging along to the upside, right? Just buy a freaking tech stock and you're probably going to make money on it, right? And he was basically like, I know it's going to happen. The market's going to start pulling back and chopping around or whatever, and the traders who are making money here are going to go, I thought I had it all figured out. You know, I was making money, and then all of a sudden I can't. Like, this is rigged and it's not working. And he asks them like, what do you think is different? And they don't give him the right answer. And of course he says, the market is what has changed. You got to realize that, right? Market first. Just because it was trending nicely, it's not always going to trend nicely. And you have to recognize that and decide how are you going to trade this differently. You're probably going to have less trades, smaller size. You are just generally going to try to embrace patience as much as you can. And that's when the alert feature came out. And Pete made a post on the Real Day Trading sub where he's like, most days you should be buying dips, not the high of the day or shorting at the low of the day. You should be focusing on not chasing and building your patience. And alerts, aka the thing, this little box you see here, are the answer. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. And then I just started buying dips, and it was like, okay, like I'm doing better now. You can't just blindly buy something when an alert goes off. But if you're consistently like only entering trades when an alert goes off and the market looks good, right? You can use this mechanical tool to help reinforce and build that patience. And so for me, when I did that and I started seeing much more consistent results and it wasn't acting, so impulsively, that really turned things around for me. And I started to just understand things a little bit, or I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot more. Um, and again, it just made me realize the importance of having patience. So, yes, alerts are what turned this around for me. And I think in general is a very, very good tool, especially for beginner traders and those who are struggling to embrace it and just abuse the hell out of them. Um, because it will help you build that discipline and that patience if you can stick to using it. So, yes, alerts are a godsend. Okay, to keep going through questions. Related to my previous question on the bullish trend day, I assume you entered stocks that had not pulled back on the M5 and were at all-time high? Yeah, on a bullish trend day, I was on that day in particular, I didn't give a damn. I was buying shit at the high of the day, and I felt extremely confident, and the stocks I was trading also had strong longer term trends. They have solid daily charts. So, I was basically 9.9 out of 10 confident. Um, so on those days when you have a huge market tailwind, the market's breaking out to an all-time high and the volume is heavy on tech stocks and they're trending nicely, like I'm not going to wait for a pullback because it's very likely that one is not going to come. And that's not to say, just start buying things at the high of the day. Again, context is important. You have to recognize when it's okay to do that. And most days, it's not okay to do that. And so I'm trying to approach most days with the I'm not going to buy the high of the day. Instead, I'm going to buy dips on alerts is a really good way to um, just kind of approach trading in the market as a beginner. Because then the days where there are like a bullish trend day, you're like, hey, like, why are people buying at the high of the day? Like, why is Harry buying all this stuff for other people? Why are they just buying into things? And it's a learning opportunity. You're like, oh, well, what I missed is that the market was really good. So then you're like, I see, when the market has got a nice tight grind higher on heavy volume with no retracements or just minimal pauses, then I can maybe get a little bit more aggressive. And you realize that the days where you're buying dips and alerts, the market looks a lot like this, or maybe it's, trending slightly with pullbacks. And it just kind of starts to make things a little bit easier and connect the dots more, so to speak. So that's another thing about trading with alerts is that it really helped me, like when I would miss something because I wasn't like aggressive enough or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I see what I was missing now. Next time I will be ready for it. So, you know, I will always simp for alerts, I guess you can call it, because can't go wrong with patience, seriously. And having the discipline to not just chase some crap at the high of the day because it's just gonna keep going. Oh, look at this. I don't know what this is. Is this the yeah. Uh okay, I don't know if this is gonna start dropping more here, but let's just say this starts to pull back like this, right? If it does, then well, and you're in a long and you don't really have high conviction, this is where I'm saying like rushing into things and trying to force something, even on a pullback where you're patiently waiting, it's just not really good on days like today where there's just so much crap like this. And when longer term for the last week, this is what we've been seeing, right? Again, 80% of traders lose money because they're entering crappy positions. And by just sitting here and doing nothing except watching paint dry, you're doing better than them because you're not losing money. Kind of profound to think about. Maybe you don't view it as that and you're like, it's a stupid thing, but hey, it works. NEE, cool. I like it. Like this little breakout to the SMA 200. Would I buy it here? Absolutely not. I want to see some follow through. My option stalker pro is lagging a bit right now, so let me go ahead and just look at the comments here real quickly. Have I ever dealt? Do I ever deal with left too much money on the table? Um, Peter, I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you saying like when I'm in a trade and I am in it for too long or I get out too quickly? Is that what you're talking about? From Luke, how often do you set alerts on intraday trend lines? I know they don't carry much significantly, but they've helped with some entries personally. Yeah, um, I use them quite a bit actually on days, especially where I do have a market tailwind. It's kind of just an extra piece of confirmation. So let's find a good stock that's been trending nicely and perhaps pulling back. I think it was GE. You're going to the M5 chart, right? Okay, that's not GE. That's NEE. Sorry, my software is catching up now. So let's say you're like here, right? And you're like, okay, um, I like what I see here, right? Let's just ignore the double top and the fact that the stock's just compressing now and doing nothing. But let's say you're like, I will go long on a Heikin Ashi reversal alert and the market looks good. And as an extra piece of confirmation, right? You wait for this is probably going to trigger. Okay, it doesn't, but it looks kind of silly. But in other words, it helps you to just make sure you're not entering something right away, right? Because if you look at this and you're like, oh, well, Pete says to enter on a Heikin Ashi reversal, or that's what Spectre says. You get it right here, and it's like, I mean, do you really want to go long here when the stock is just compressing like this? Probably not. You might want to wait for it to break through that high, or maybe even this high. Whoops, that's not what I was trying to do. Or maybe at the high of the day. Or maybe you want to get an alert right at VWAP just so you can see how the stock behaves. So I also use and abuse these intraday M5 trend lines. It's a great way to just help monitor this stock, right? Especially when you keep it bracketed like this, but also for drawing that downward sloping trend line and being like, I'm not going to enter unless market looks good. Got the Heikin Ashi reversal, the volume looks good, the pullback was not aggressive, and I've got that trend line breach. All right, I'm ready to go on this thing. Of course, Tony. Thank you for your questions. AEO was a stock that Pete had highlighted. You can see here, right? Nice move up. Okay, you get a little bit of aggressive selling here. Nothing to worry about. You pull back to that EMA, you get a bounce on the daily chart. Don't have any significant volume here, but stock longer term looks pretty good to me. So this would be something that, I'm watching, right? The stock clearly has relative strength because although it had this pullback here, right? The market has been pulling back, and today it's going higher when the market is doing jack shit. So I will be setting an alert on this guy. Pretty sure I already have one, so I won't, but yeah, you can see here, right? Would you buy this breakout right here? I wouldn't, just because I don't have that market tailwind. I would just wait for, this right here. This was probably a Heikin Ashi reversal. Almost. You don't get the flat top red. Point is just don't buy breakouts to the high of the day. Unless you've got a bullish trend day and you're feeling really confident. If you're feeling any sort of like, I'm unsure, don't buy a breakout. Don't buy the high of the day. Just wait. See if you get a pullback. And if you don't, learn to be okay with that and accept that. That's going to also help you be more patient. And it will make you realize that I'm not going to catch everything. But if I'm okay with missing out on certain things, I know I'm doing the right thing. I've got the right mindset. You got to have an abundance mindset. Realize that the market is always going to give you an opportunity to make money. You just have to wait for it, which, of course, easier said than done. By the way, Luke, here's a good example of how would I use a Heikin Ashi reversal alert and a trendline breach right here. If this breaks through, I'm going to get the alert. And if that also happens to coincide with the Heikin Ashi reversal alert, or if it's just straight from here, then yeah, it could be a good entry point. Assuming the market looks good, which it looks like garbage, so I wouldn't enter that. But yeah, that's how I use those intraday lines. Mantis, what are your thoughts on C versus JPM as a future long? I think they both look strong, but does one stand out more so to you? Great question. I know I like JPM because look at this. I mean, this is relentless tight buying. This is something that you could just buy right now and in a week or 10 days, get out before earnings, it's probably going to be up. Or at the very least, it's going to be right where you entered it. Why? Because you have this longer term strength here that you can trust, right? This is an excellent long. And you might look at this like, oh, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's so boring. Look, it just grinds up. Well, sure, I suppose I could see where you're coming from, but you can definitely predict with a much higher degree where this thing is going than something like W, Wayfair, that just chops around like this, right? You've got wicks, you've got tails, you go up, you go down. LRSI looks like a freaking Six Flags roller coaster. Sure, it makes big moves, but do you want to go long on this stock? Maybe if it has nicer price action than this, but this daily chart sure as hell does not inspire me to go long on this. So, sorry, I realize I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but C versus JPM, I don't want to get carried away here. Honestly, they're both excellent. If you want to look for which one is stronger right now, C or Citigroup is technically stronger. You can see it's at a high here, right? It's breaking out of this little compression here. It's strong today. Of course, so is JPM, but JPM is also not making a new high. So honestly, I would say both of them are good stocks. Flip a coin. They're both probably going to look good. Obviously, if one of them has nicer price action on the day you decide to go long, then you probably want to go with that one. But they're both really solid picks because, again, they have that really nice longer term trend. So hopefully that helps. And hopefully why am I showing you Wayfair that has nothing to do with bank stocks? If, let's say, Citigroup looked like this, when JPM looks like this, then hopefully it's obvious to you which one you would want to go long on. Okay, I'm going to go into a custom scanner I have, which is called D1RRS. What does that stand for? Literally just stands for D1 relative strength. And I'm going to look at stocks that have relative strength when the market is doing absolutely nothing. Donut, Krispy Kreme. Pretty sure there's news on this one with McDonald's selling Krispy Kreme donuts partnership. Yeah. Take a look at that M5 chart. Okay. Well, I wasn't going to trade it, but don't jump into this. CGC. Let's take a look. Okay, that's a big breakout. Obviously, there's probably some kind of news. It's a healthcare stock. See if I can see anything. Oh, it's a weed stock. Okay. Daily chart is crap. I don't care about this. Also, these kinds of stocks, any kind of biotech stock, weed stock, whatever, it's going to be more volatile, so wouldn't rush into it. DKNG, you scroll out, you can see this one's got a nice longer term trend. It's choppy though. What does that tell you? Well, that tells you don't buy it at the upper end of, if you draw a trading channel, you'll be able to see more clearly, right? Let me go ahead and just do that. This isn't going to be exact, so please don't yell at me. Well, actually, that's supposed to touch this and that. I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to show you that this thing is choppy and how to approach something like this. Okay, I realize this is going through this, but again, I don't really care. It tests it, it pulls back. It tests it, it pulls back. It tests it, it pulls back. It tests it. Yeah, this is news related, but do I think that this is the top and this is going to drop forever? No. It's probably going to pull back, maybe to VWAP, maybe even the 50 SMA, maybe even to the 100 SMA, but I guarantee you it's going to start going back up again. So that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to buy it right here. Don't do that. Yes, support's likely to hold. It's likely to continue this trend, but wait for that bounce, that confirmation, right? So if you're watching it here and you're like, I'm waiting for this to pull back so I can get a good entry point. You look at the Heikin Ashi candles, you see here, here's your reversal. You get a big breakout through AVWAP in the 50 SMA and on volume, and the market looks good. Hell yeah, good entry point. So that's the difference between a stock that is stronger, longer term, like DKNG, but it's choppy, and something like JP Morgan. You see how nice and tight this is? Even if you enter and it pulls back, if you look at it historically, it's probably going to not dip too far and you'll be fine. So that's the great thing about picking stocks with really strong daily charts, is that you can rely on that longer term strength in the stock to continue. And especially when the market is just more or less kind of flat or gradually going up, or even if it's dripping down, you're pretty much going to be fine, right? Much better to go into something like that than something that's super volatile, although looks fun, right? Just, you don't want to just get chopped up in something like MSTR, which, to be fair, it does have a very powerful trend right now, but this is like a rocket ship higher, and it's also a crypto stock, and you can see the volatility, right? Up, down, gap up, gap down, up higher, and then I don't know, flip a coin. It's probably not going to stray too far from here, but this is a lot more stressful to trade than JP Morgan. So just keep that in mind. Gizmo, can you explain a little bit what makes you decide which time frame to use for LRSI alerts, and also what makes you decide if it's more suitable to set an LRSI alert or a HA reversal alert? Great question. Um, so for the time frame I use for LRSI alerts, generally speaking, I will usually set a 2-hour LRSI alert or a 1-hour or an M30 alert for like I see a stock with, nice little tight grind higher on the D1 chart. I want to buy a pullback because I think I can get one. Um, Honestly, either one is fine. If you set an M31, keep that in mind that it's going to trigger sooner, obviously. Um, H1 and H2 are also great timeframes to set, but sometimes you won't get that alert to trigger, right? So like, let's say you set it here because you're like, I want to catch a pullback or a pause in the stock. This never dips below 0.2, but it does dip below on the M30 chart, right? You see that there? So it's not always going to be exact and just always work. So, even when I have these alerts set, I still like to just click on them and be like, oh, what's going on here? Like here, CRBG, this is pulling back. All right, when would be a good time to enter this? Well, first of all, nice longer term trend strength, right? You see that. What has it done when it's pulled back previously? Pulls back to the 15 EMA on the D1 / the 8 EMA. It's above the SMAs. Okay, there's your entry point. Pulls back, go in again, pulls back, wait for that Heikin Ashi reversal, and for the bounce, there's your entry point. So for this one, right, if I look at the not H2, but H1 timeframes, you'll see if you went long here, could have made some money there. You get a bit of a pullback, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't enter at the right time because it pulled back. Well, you can lean on the longer term D1 chart and strength. Just make sure you're appropriately sized so you're not freaking out, right? So you decide right here, okay, I see support. I am ready to go. I've got a higher low here. So that's my entry point. Same thing for right here. I don't know if it technically crosses below 0.2 here, but you get the point. So just always keep in mind what the daily chart is doing. Realize that, yeah, this has got a nicer longer term trend, but if you draw the upper end and the lower end of the trading channel, you'll see that it's a little bit choppier. So don't need to rush in and buy the high of the day or whatever here. Set that LRSI alert like I have it. And sorry, I realized I was distracted, but you can see it's just floating down here. At some point, it's going to trigger. So when it triggers, I also want to see this downward sloping trend line alert breached. There's my double confirmation, so to speak. Why did I set it on the H1 chart versus the D1 chart? No particular reason, but sometimes I just like to see a little bit more into the weeds, I suppose, of what is the price action doing on a slightly shorter term time frame than the D1 chart. Okay, Tony, with all the alerts you have set and used it as your watch list, when the market conditions change to go mode, do you have a list of your top stocks to look at, or just go through your alert list? Good question. I usually have like an extra like list or whatever of like maybe like a notepad or something. Like I try to just take notes before, during, and after the market hours, so I might rank them to some degree. Sometimes I don't do that, and I just have an idea at the top of my head, like, "Yep, I want to go long BBWI because I know this stock is very, very strong right now." As you can see, I pointed this out earlier, right? Started getting that grind higher. Look at this. This is beautiful. And the volume's starting to pick up. So yeah, I kind of do have like a mental ranking, so to speak. So I'm like, yep, I'm going straight to Home Depot because I like it. Um, and if I don't, then I'll sift through my alert list. Yeah, I can get a little bit messy in here because I have a lot set, but it really doesn't take me a long time to just click, 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 click. Which one do I like? I like this one. I know why I like it. I'm ready to go. Where do you live? Also, sup? What's up, Ali? I live in California. To be more specific, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, NorCal, some people call it, even though I always find it funny because it's not technically NorCal, it's more like Central California, but not going to argue about that. Yeah, I live in California, so I wake up early in the morning, around 6-ish, because the market opens at 6:30. So I am not going to get up at 5 a.m. to spend an hour before the market open just because that would be way too difficult for me, and I'd have to go to bed even earlier. So I do my pre-planning the night before, um, and I use Pete's pre-open comments as like a sort of like an add-on extension to what I, wrote down. And of course, if anything major happened overnight, he's going to obviously highlight it. So that is kind of how I approach um, dealing with the market in Pacific time. Oh, you're an SF2. Hell yeah. You are close by. If you want to hang out, let me know. We can talk stonks together. Honestly, I'm down. It'd be cool to meet up with some people who are in the one option trading community, of course, real day trading as well. I think we've like sort of talked about like, um, meet up in Vegas one day with Harry, in which we'll all be like, "Hey, you're so cool. I love you." And you'll be like, "Shut up. I hate you. I don't like people, but also nice to meet you." Would be cool to meet some of you guys. I'm also a software engineer. Hey, welcome to the club. And you prefer stocks? So do I, dude. So do I. Uh, this shit is really fun and it's challenging. And the financial independence aspect of it is pretty cool. So totally agree with you. Shout out from SoCal. Let's go SoCal. Nice to see you, Pablo. Accurate depiction of Harry. Yup. I imagine someday I meet him, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, dude, thanks for writing the wiki. You're awesome." He'll be like, "Hey, Spectre, you're annoying. Nice to meet you. I'll take it as a compliment." I won't get too butthurt about it. Low. I like low. Why do I like low? Well, you can see it's got some okay strength longer term. You can see this breakout above this Leno TL H plus. It's just pulling back to the D1 ADMA. Wouldn't be freaking out about this if I entered up here. Why? Because I know this thing is going to probably bounce at some point because I can see it in the price action. Although, yes, it's a little bit choppier. But here's an excellent one that you can set. You already know it. Oh shit, I already set the alert, but that LRSI H1 alert. And sometimes, by the way, when I see that the longer term timeframes for LRSI have also gone down, meaning it's not just the H1, but it's the H2, it's the, I don't know if the H4 will be below, but almost there. And I can see that the stock is forming support. I might set an LRSI M30 alert just to see if I can catch it when it starts going back up. You can see here how it's starting to go back up. I wouldn't buy it because it's still sitting here. I would want to see it go up, obviously. But sometimes if you're not really paying close attention to everything in your list and you're very disorganized, kind of like me, I don't know, you might be able to catch it earlier when those longer time frames are below point 0.2 and you just set a slightly shorter one. But again, just remember that just because an alert triggers does not mean buy. It's just an alert. It's telling you something. But low, I definitely like if the market and buyers start to wake up, I wouldn't buy it right away. Again, I would wait to see that it's found support and it's starting to go up. And if the volume comes back like it was here, hell yeah, I'd buy it. Am I scared of this? No, I'm not. I mean, yeah, it's selling for a few days, but this isn't aggressive and like stacked red candles on heavy volume. It's just pulling back. That's what the stock does on the D1 chart. So I like low. I also like Home Depot. They are similar, right? You pull back, you go up. You pull back, you go up. You pull back, you go up. I know SPY just triggered that alert, but I don't care. We'll go to that in a second. Here's your trading channel for this guy. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, I'm getting sloppy here. Holy shit. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna close that alert. Okay, this is not what I wanted. Okay, well, we're gonna make it work. Here's your ugly ass trend line, or excuse me, trading channel. Again, I don't care that it's not accurate. I am really botching this right now. I am sorry. Anyways, you wait for it to touch the lower end of the trading channel, make sure it's still above, all the major support lines, and don't just buy it because it's touching the lower end, right? Don't just buy its support. You have to make sure buyers are still engaged there. Wait for the bounce and market looks good. Lowe's gonna, or excuse me, Home Depot's gonna go with it. By the way, for those of you who have been in here since I started, and if you haven't fallen asleep yet, I said I am waiting for the market to break this M5 trend line before I would consider doing anything. So because it's touching it right now, would I go long? No. Remember, we don't make money on the breakout. We make money on the follow through. And let me tell you, I have drawn this same trend line multiple times since Friday of last week. I drew it when it was like this, right? So I won't bore you to death, but uh, let's see. I take the top here, okay, drop it here, and it breaches right around here. And it's like, hey, do I go long? No, because I don't like all this chop. It's tried to break above VWAP multiple times and it's failed. So I want to see what this does. You get a pullback, you go up, and then you pull back. Okay, buyers still aren't very excited. Now I set it like this. Do I go long? Nope, because it's just chopping and it only broke the trend line because of time. Similarly here, it's tapping it. Is the volume picking up? Yeah, it is. Okay. Still is not enough for me to get excited about going long. Also, keep in mind that if you look up here, it's almost the end of the day. I don't really like opening day trades towards the end of the day just because I don't have a lot of time. And, I'm just not very excited to go long yet. If this buying continues to the end of the day and tomorrow the buying picks up and we get volume, then yeah, hell yeah, I like that. Then I know that buyers are engaged. Maybe I didn't join right when the breakout started. I don't care. I now have a higher sense of conviction and probability that, yeah, I've got a market that's going to support my stock picks. All right, I can still make money with much higher chances of follow through. All right, I'm going to start getting a lot of alerts because, I don't know, this market actually starts to pop. I've got a lot of alerts set, obviously, so we'll see what happens. AEO, okay. If you wanted to, you could go long here. Would I go long here? No, I wouldn't, just because, I just said I'm not ready to go long, but you put on a starter here, you're probably going to make money on it, or at the very least, this trend is likely going to continue, right? You've got a decent D1 trend, but I just don't feel like I need to jump the gun right now, even though I do technically have that Heikin Ashi reversal. Whenever I get these alerts and I'm, again, uncertain about the market and the stock, I just try to find ways to dissuade myself. So how could I dissuade myself, and why would I want to dissuade myself? Well, again, I don't have the highest probability trading conditions, so I'm aware of that. And why might not I go long right here beyond just the market is, I don't know, I don't really trust this fully yet. Well, the volume isn't really there, so maybe you just don't have as high as conviction in this, which you shouldn't when the volume is lower. It doesn't mean you can't trade it. Of course you can, but just recognize that the higher volume would be a nice to have. It's an extra checkbox that you're not marking there right now. GE, breaking out of a compression. Does that mean go long right now? No. First of all, assume that this breakout's going to fail. Just assume that. That is going to put you ahead of most other traders because there are people in here who are rushing to buy this right now. And if this gets hammered down and closes as a bearish hammer, they will be like, I fucked up again. And you will be like, I was patient. I waited. No, that doesn't mean short this. That's stupid. Don't be stupid. But just wait to see how this closes. Wait to see if you get the follow through. Just takes a little bit of patience. And it's not like you're going to be missing out because you missed this 30-cent pop here or whatever. Look at the daily chart. This thing's probably going to keep going up. Okay, you've got a lot of money you can make on this one. You don't have to join in the moment it breaks out. EQH, I like this one on the daily chart. Got a nice little grind higher. Would I buy it right now? No, I wouldn't, but I'm watching it. See what the market does. This is a really nice pop in the market here, actually. You can see if you take out this 15,000 futures contract dump yesterday, right? Clearly, it wasn't anything material because we gapped up quite a bit, right? But we found support at the Monday low. We've made some higher lows. That's cool. That tells me that this could be a level that buyers are becoming a little bit more interested in, right? The profit taking and the selling can't get back down to these previous lows. And lo and behold, we've got a rocket ship launch going right now on the M5 chart. Again, I am not personally rushing into this because, well, I just don't feel like I need to. Um, in fact, this kind of buying like this would make me more scared of like a it's probably going to attract some profit taking because there are people long in here who are trying to scalp and or whatever, right? And they see this big move and they're like, yeah, I'm going to take some profit, right? These long ass candles are more prone to retracement than, let's say, we moved this same distance, but with candles more like this that are smaller and it's just a gradual grind higher. That I can trust a lot more than these explosive rocket ship blast off kind of things. This is FOMO Joe is chasing here. And, again, I'm not saying that this is going to pull back or anything. It's just that personally, I just don't need to rush in because, well, look at this crap. Are those pivot lines? Oh, you draw those manually? Are you talking about the the little trend lines that I draw? Like, I think it was on low. Yes, I do draw those manually for the trading channels. Sometimes I also draw alert lines, but they can trigger sometimes and then the line goes away and then I'm like, okay, I have to redraw it again. So it's more so just like a visual aid. Um, so yeah, Kroger is a boring ass stock, but had a really nice earnings reaction. There's a big run up. It's had a couple weeks to digest it a bit. It's got support at AVWAP-E, the ADMA. Could it start grinding higher? Yeah, good. Again, this is not Nvidia or whatever, so would I chase this? Absolutely not. But I would buy a dip on this one, especially if I'm starting to feel market looks better here. But yeah, it's a grocery store. I don't think they're putting AI in their bread or whatever. I don't really know how you use AI with a grocery store, but yeah, you don't need to chase something like that. But it does look kind of nice. I like the breakout. GE, probably at the high of the day. Um, yeah, starting to pop. Okay, you're getting some more follow through on this breakout. The market still looks good. Again, I'm not chasing anything because I don't feel like I need to. Ollie, on your M5 SPY, they actually are putting AI in their bread. I believe it. Honestly, just you've got an earnings call, just say AI, and that's all you need to do, and your stock pops off because AI this and AI that. Oh yeah, and on the M5 SPY, generally speaking, I will use the end of day line alerts rather than manually drawing the blue trend lines. Okay, uh, I realize there are a lot of messages in the chat room, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in here. Let's see what people are talking about. Hope Harry is okay. I haven't heard from him all day. I am here, just not much to say during this prize section. Yes. Wish I had some paint to watch dry. Okay, just keep going. Pretty sure one of the red traders said something. I think the guy who shorted futures this time yesterday is buying them back. The flip-flop trader. Before I get a bunch of questions, I am kidding. I hope no one would be like, "Hey, Pete, are you for sure about that? Is that what's going on? Do you have like insider information?" I highly doubt that someone's thinking that, but let's hope not. Okay, we've got some more messages. Nothing super exciting. Okay, so again, I don't know if you're feeling tempted here. You might be. I personally am not because I already said I don't really like to put on trades at the end of the day, at least for day trades. If I wanted to swing something, then of course, I'm going to enter at the end of the day. But I don't have a market that I feel totally confident yet to that has found support and is ready to blast off. I would feel better if tomorrow we get follow through buying. Then I would feel better because this little uh, torturous pullback could be starting to buyers coming in to support it. You can see on the D1 of SPY, if we close here, that's a nice little, excuse me, bullish hammer. We are likely at some point going to continue the trend higher. Could it start tomorrow? Sure. I will wait to confirm that though. I've got no reason to rush with any of this stuff. GE has breached above the trend line. Okay, well, that's the high of the day. RTX has breached above the trend line. I also like RTX. Why? Well, take a look at this. You got a nice breakout. Stock's been grinding higher. Relative strength when the market is doing what? Absolutely nothing. Market pulling back. This thing is going up. And of course, it's going to go up now that the market's going up. So RTX, yeah, I'm going to be watching this one tomorrow, and it's likely to keep going up. Overall, the longer term trend, of course, nothing too exciting. So not the strongest in terms of longer term D1 strength, but I like the breakout. Looks good to me. Aaron, hey man, this is great. I'm working on patience and listening to your thought process is great. You should do more live trading. Not sure if it affects your trading, but if not, it's value add. Hey, I'm very happy to hear that, Aaron. No, it doesn't affect my trading. Actually, if anything, I feel like it helps me trade better because I am more in the zone, so to speak. And I'm engaged. And to some degree, it's also like accountability of like, okay, I've got people watching me, rather not make a fool of myself. Not that that's what I'm trying to do, but it helps to know people are like watching you or whatever. And for some people, that obviously wouldn't help, but helps me. And I don't know. I used to play a fighting game competitively at the near professional level. Always did well with people watching me live. That just gave me energy. So I don't know if that helps me here. Um, I don't know, but I also like doing this live because, especially on garbage days like this, it keeps me awake to engage with people in the comments. By the way, I am long RKT. I went long probably this day it was. I liked the breakout. Yes, I've had to weather some chop and wait for the market, but I like RKT. It's held this breakout well. If the market starts to go, this one's probably going to keep going. Why is that? Well, it didn't even come test this thing. It's just compressed here. Didn't even bother having to tap the EMA. It's just going. And that's why I got the alert today. And you can see this one's been moving real nicely today. Light volume, of course, because the market's doing nothing, but clearly there are some people interested in this, and the volume's starting to pick up a bit. So, am I going to close it now because all of a sudden I'm in profit? No. I think that this has more upside. Where would I consider taking profit? Well, I'm not expecting the market to make explosive moves or anything like that, but I want to see this break above these highs here, which that's technically what it's doing right now. And I want to see it grind a little bit more, get a little bit closer to the highs here, around that $15 level, just to see, because I'm pretty confident I can get more out of RKT because this shows me that buyers are engaged. Let's see. Peter, third that. Tony, second that. Aaron, I get overwhelmed in chat rooms and discords with all the callouts. This sort of stuff helps me. It's calming. That's awesome to hear. I really like that. Um, my role in the chat room of like the one option chat room, like, yeah, I'm a mod in the chat room or whatever, and I'm not Dave, I'm not Harry, I'm not Pete, but what I hope and what I'm trying to do is to instill patience in the minds of everyone, and that you missed this the train on this breakout. Who cares? Like, there's always going to be another one. Don't beat yourself up over it. So I try to just frame things in a way that hopefully is especially helping newer members and, just reminder to anyone to just stay patient, just chill. You want to be chill when you're trading. You don't want to be like, holy shit, this market's going. AMD, what's going on here? Oh, it's a bullish hammer. Okay, it's gonna break out above the SMA 50 because AI. Look at this. Buyers clearly care now. I'm gonna go long. Don't do that for a million different reasons, technical and don't be impulsive. That's not what I'm going to instill in these live trading sessions. There's some other stocks here. I like CMI. It's a little choppy, but this one's been strong. I also like CSGP, I think. Okay, no, it wasn't this one. This one's choppy. A stock I do like is PHM. Why do I like it? I don't know. Zoom out and tell me what you think. Look at this thing. That is a nice move up. And when the market's been doing nothing, this has just been compressing at the all-time high. And guess what? Market decides to pop. What do you think this thing is doing? It's also popping up now. I was long this last week, and I took profit on the FOMC day, which I think was this day here or something. Yeah, but honestly, I would love to join this one again. Just want to confirm the market, and I will get that confirmation ideally tomorrow. Slider, I commented this in your last live video, seconds before it went down. These videos and your commentary and thought process are very helpful, and your discipline is admirable. Thank you for doing these. Thank you, Slider. I appreciate that. I am glad it is helpful and that it is helping you out. Aaron, look forward to the next one, setting alert on YouTube. Hell yeah. Send that notification next time you go live. Let me make some money with you. That's the attitude I like, Aaron. Good to hear that. Gizmo, would you consider day trading the upcoming days or would you rather swing? Just depends. If we get nice movement tomorrow in the market, might day trade it. Yeah. Maybe even enter some swings. We'll see. Just one thing to keep in mind though tomorrow, like sure, this is exciting and all, like, maybe this is finally the time we start to pop up and end this torturous drift lower, but just remember that the market's closed on Friday, which means that, well, whenever there's a holiday, it sucks the life out of the market, which is also part of why this crap has just been so relentless. So, even if tomorrow we get some nice movement, I'm not expecting anything huge. So that right there takes a little bit out of my like rating of like 1 out of 10 how bullish am I. Just because, it's the day before a holiday. I'm not expecting anything big. It's not like we have news tomorrow. Sure, we might have end of the month buying or whatever, but regardless, maybe I will trade tomorrow. I think that would be fun to do. Or sorry, I should say live trade tomorrow, especially if we get a nice day. And if we don't, then you guys can come in here and be bored out of your damn minds with me as I hopefully keep you out of taking bad trades and making silly decisions. Okay, you're probably wondering why am I just flipping around looking at the same stuff over again? It's because I am a little bit distracted, but no worries. Most important thing for me is that I'm containing or I'm keeping my composure, my discipline, which I am. NRG, I really like this long term. Been waiting for a pullback in this one. Could it be the pullback is coming? Yeah. Let's see what the stock has done every time it taps the EMA. Taps the 15 and just grinds along it. Doesn't even close below it. Okay, we pull back to the 50. Earnings, this thing has been explosive. Yeah, at some point this is going to start grinding higher. Might just need a little bit more time. Again, I wouldn't buy preemptively here. What would I do? Go to a 1-hour chart. I don't know. Do something like this. Take this, connect it to this, and there you go. When this breaks, could be a great long, especially if it doesn't dip very far. I like it longer term. I find it hard to understand the workings behind the buy and sell programs. Pete mentioned it in relation to the latest price action. Do you understand it? Yeah, I guess what I would take away from that is I know it can sound kind of like complex to some degree and like what exactly is he talking about? It's more or less just like think about a non high probability trading days like we have seen recently. There's really nothing going on, right? And so bid checks and testing the strength of the upside, right? there's really not going to be much going on. And buy and sell programs are basically just testing who has higher conviction. At some point, someone will rain out of this chop, and you just have to see. And so that's also what he refers to as jousting sometimes on the open. That's also why trading the open is dangerous, and you don't do that because, well, institutions are trying to figure out who is stronger in their conviction. Is this big ass gap up a bunch of fluff? Let's test it because a gap reversal has much more downside than a gap and go. And so they test the conviction of buyers and they see, well, clearly buyers do not give a damn at this level. And that's why you see this selling here. Is this the most bearish price action in the world? No. JP Morgan did not just fail or something like that. This is just moving to the downside because buyers aren't super strong here. Okay, that's fine. And that's why you don't see any really follow through. You had this, excuse me, this choppy grind lower, sort of. And then eventually buyers are like, okay, I'm interested in at this level. So the buy programs and sell programs, just think of it as, especially on these days, there's just no interest. So they're going to test the upside, they're going to test the downside. What do you think about stocks like Teva, too extended from VWAP, SMAs? Would you set an alert on a type of this stock? Is it too extended? I know exactly which stock you're talking about. Well, no shit, you just typed it in the chat, but Teva, it's got nice longer term strength. It's an ADR, it's a biotech stock. It has pretty nice consistent price action. Um, too extended from AVWAP, the SMAs. No, not really, perhaps. I mean, this price action here is really nice and tight, right? You can do this, draw your trading channel. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, just try to make them parallel if you can. Is it going to tap the upper end of this for sure? No, there's no guarantees, right? But if I entered this, which, I would consider it, I really like how strong it's been lately. And you can see that on the 15-minute chart. That's a damn nice trend. It's probably going to continue. And I can guarantee that because there's no dips in this thing pretty much whatsoever. Personally, though, if I were looking at this, what would I use as a stop? I might use the 15 EMA or the 8 EMA just because I would expect it to not close below it because you can see it pretty much never does. Or if it does close one day, it just goes up the next day. Or maybe this breakout point here I'd use as a stop. So, for all intents and purposes, if you're like concerned about like, is it too extended? If it's strong and you like it and the market looks good, take a starter position. You don't have to just go all in. If it starts grinding higher and you've got a starter in, that's great. You can add to it if you want to. Size for the daily chart, in other words. So if your stop's down here and you're like, it's a little too far, but I still like it, you can throw on a quarter size position, half size position, 6/8 size position, which, okay, I guess that's 3/4, but you get the point. You don't have to just kind of go balls to the wall, all or nothing, so to speak. PGR, this is a really nice one. It's been compressing at the high here. Would love to see it break out through those highs because this one has been really nice. DBN. Also, well, sure, it's been nice recently because all of energy has been nice recently. It is very choppy, so no thank you. Moving on. HAL, too choppy. AEO, we already know, we like that one. EOG, also energy, too choppy, don't care. Google, also too choppy. Oh yeah, here's another thing I wanted to talk about. I think it's Alcoa. Wait, what is the Alcoa symbol? Is it AAL or is that American Airlines? Um, damn it. What is Alcoa's chart? Or excuse me, ticker? Alcoa. Let me look it up really quickly. Ticker for Alcoa. Oh, right. It's just AA. Okay, thank you guys. Sorry, I should have been looking at the chat instead of going to Google. Okay, you see this here, right? Let's say you're like, hey, I like the price action in Alcoa today because, I mean, yeah, this is kind of nice, right? Like you can buy dips on this. Personally, what I do, and this really helped me as far as like increasing my win rate and my confidence. This is nice and all, right? You could buy a dip on this at, whatever point because you can expect this to keep going. But personally, I like to have a little bit more confidence in that if I don't enter right, but the stock looks good longer term and the market looks good longer term, and I'm sizing for the D1, then that's okay. I'm still going to try to enter as best as I can because I want to do that. But I personally filter out stocks like this because even though it looks nice on the M5, I don't like this at all. This is crap. I don't know where this is going. This is like you gave a bat a bunch of alcohol and now it's drunk and flapping around all over the place. Sure, it could go up, but it might drop the next day and then just keep dropping, or it could fly up really high. I don't know. It's just lower probability in terms of I definitely know where this thing is going because although it looks like that on the M5 chart, I don't feel the same about longer term. And longer term is much more important to me as far as context and, do I want to go along with this thing? So even if something looks nice during the day, right? But not on the daily chart, just filter it out and instead focus on something like, I don't know, Allstate. You got a really nice trend here. Obviously, it's down today, so don't buy it. But in other words, just make sure the daily chart looks excellent. Don't even look at the M5 chart as you're going through your scanners, like heavy buying or whatever, because it's like, oh, hey, look, like ENTH is up. Yeah, but look at this crap. Like, do you really want to trade this? At any moment, sellers could just smack it down again, like they kind of have been. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just chopping around. All right. Well, that's the end of the session. What do I think? Well, clearly buyers are interested here. Okay. So what am I thinking right now? Well, first of all, I didn't FOMO into anything in this buying here. I didn't feel tempted or anything because, I have my thesis and reasoning for I'm gonna wait for more confirmation. Um, so I give myself bonus points for that because I didn't join FOMO Joe with this. And sure, could I have entered here and made money? Yeah, but again, you don't make money on the breakout, you make money on the follow through. And sure, this is follow through, but I want to make damn sure this BS here is done. So tomorrow, I want to see follow through to this buying. And if we get that, then yeah, I can get behind that. If we don't, though, right, we gap up or whatever, and then we just gradually leak lower, or we see these stacked reds again, then all right, I know that maybe now is not the time. Maybe next week when this dreadful holiday week is finally over. But, I just try my best to embrace I will just wait for that extra confirmation because, I want to make sure I've got the highest probability conditions. And Dave made an excellent post on the Real Day Trading sub a while ago on what's it called? Like trading the highest probability setups. And he said stuff like trade the best, skip the rest. But he also said that eliminating losers is more important than getting winners. What the hell does that mean? He's basically just saying make your criteria for stock picks excellent because they're going to have higher probability of success. And when you combine that with I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting for the market to give me that signal to go, yeah, you're going to eliminate way more losers than if you just rush in and buy this breakout because of FOMO and, oh, this is certainly the moment we're about to bounce. I don't want to miss this opportunity here. Look, even if tomorrow we open up and it does this, I guarantee you there's going to be a pullback at some point. You'll have your chance to get in. You don't need to rush anything. By the way, I got an alert on Lyft. I am long Lyft. And I entered on this day. Last week I don't know if that was the FOMC day, but it was really strong here. And I entered and I had really nice profit here, but I was like, I think I can get more. And to be fair, that was a little bit of a mistake on my part because the price action was, well, unfortunately not supporting that on this gap update. This is where I was thinking we could go higher. And of course, that was the beginning to this torturous trip lower. But I still like it, and that's why I've held on to it. And you might look at this and be like, wow, look at this. That's really heavy selling. Yeah, it is. But guess what? I didn't freak out here and close because this breakout is failing or whatever. I waited. I waited to see how this candle is going to form, right? If I just opened up the M5 chart in the morning and I saw this and just decided to shit my pants, well, number one, I'm probably acting emotionally to this, right? Number two, I'm probably thinking about my P&L if I'm worried about it. And number three, most importantly, I'm not trading the chart, right? I am trading the D1 chart. And just because a candle was full and red like it was at some point doesn't mean that it's going to end like that. That's how you get bullish hammers, bearish hammers, whatever. And that's exactly what happened here. Yes, of course, the market came in and popped up, but it's also part of my thesis with the trade is that the market's going to go up again at some point, and Lyft probably will too. And guess what? Pretty much closed right above that breakout point, which, by the way, with this trade, I'm being um, just letting it see how it behaves around the EMAs. So perhaps a little bit more flexible, and I'm sized appropriately for that because you can see since earnings here, it goes up, it goes down, it pulls back to the 15 EMA, the 8 EMA, then it goes up, it pulls back, goes to the EMAs, it goes up, it pulls back, the EMAs. Okay, take note of that. And that's basically what I have done with this trade. And again, if the market goes through tomorrow, I'm expecting this to come in and see this thing also go up with it. And before this big ass run up here, right, you can already see that this was starting to recover a bit. So again, if you're long a swing trade and you're freaking out because you're seeing this in the morning or whatever, unless news just came out that like the CEO is like, or their financials are fraudulent or something, just wait to see how the D1 candle. And even if like bad news comes out, you're going to get a bounce at some point, pretty much guaranteed. So just see if you can exit better if bad news comes out, but just remain calm. Don't think about the P&L or the win rate and oh my god, this is going to be a disaster. Remember to wait for the candle to close. Do that for swings, do that for day trades, right? Don't just assume that a breakout is about to happen, right? Let's say you were watching this and you're like, oh, look at this, it's breaking out to new high of the day. I'm going to buy here. Well, if you did that and you bought before the candle close, you missed this valuable information that buyers try to push it up, sellers pushed it down. And then guess what? Pulled back a little bit. Now, obviously, you probably wouldn't want to buy here just because, well, you got to respect the selling. But what I'm trying to say is just bring patience into your execution as well, right? Not just I'm waiting for the trade, but wait for the candle to close before you decide, yeah, I'm going long or short or whatever it is, or I'm going to exit. The same principle on the D1 here. I love when I see stuff like this, by the way, because this gives me conviction in my trade. And it also just tells me that, I mean, yeah, buyers clearly cared about this stock even before this pop in the market. And I did the right thing by waiting instead of panicking here. So, you know, hopefully that makes sense what I'm saying. And you're not like, I don't know what this dude's talking about. Please shut up. Anyways, Nick, seeing if Harry or Dave opens new positions also makes sitting in your hands easier. Also, at the pop at the end now, Dave did not enter anything, so I'm going to be fine not opening something. Yes, Nick, that's a great indicator in of itself is when you see those guys not entering anything. Um, and that doesn't mean like, don't enter because they're not entering. Like sometimes I'll enter something because, I feel fine and confident or whatever, but when they're not trading actively and posting stuff, you can see that it's kind of like a maybe they don't really feel too confident or they just don't see anything that they're interested in. You can use that, in other words, as a check to see like, am I being a little bit too quick to jump here, so to speak? Why are they maybe not taking trades? And again, don't let that like scare you from making a good setup if you feel confident in the stock in the market, because ultimately, the goal is to become a pro trader. If you're going to be one, they're not going to hold your hands, right? You have to be able to trust your own decisions. So if you make a trade and it works out and you're, not doing something stupid like bottom picking or whatever, and good, like it worked out. Be happy and use that to boost your confidence. But if it doesn't work out, then see what went wrong and see if while Harry and the others aren't making trades, see if maybe there was something that you missed in the market price action or the stock or just something like that. And sometimes there just won't be. Just remember that, even if you have a 75% win rate or higher, you're still going to lose trades. Don't let that beat you up. It's just part of the process, right? You're going to lose. Even Dave loses. He's a robot owl who wins like 80% of his, or sorry, like 90% of his trades, but even he posts losers. He doesn't win everything. So don't beat yourself up. Um, okay. I should probably end this here because, well, we could keep doing this and I wouldn't mind, but market is closed and I should go eat food and get sunshine. That is part of my post-market routine is to go outside. And I need to journal my thought process for the day and other stuff. I didn't open any new trades, but stick to my routine. Also, my cat's gonna come in here and start yelling, so I uh, I apologize if you can hear that. Hopefully, that's not too loud. She also probably wants food and/or attention. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. For those of you who stick around, I appreciate it. Thank you for the questions and for just your comments in general. I hope you continue to find this really helpful because I know some of you have been saying that, and that makes me really happy. I will do anything I can to help instill discipline and patience in anyone's trading process. So, thank you for the love in the chat. I thank you guys for staying tuned and watching. And yeah, I will try to do this again soon. I don't have any schedule like Pete and Harry do with like their weekly um, live sessions on Wednesdays, but I'll try to do it at least once a week, maybe pop in some more. Um, and hopefully we can get it on more exciting days where I'm actually making trades and stuff. And if I, don't because the market is crap, then you can sit in here and hopefully use me as a way to tame your FOMO Joe instinct of holy shit, coin is going off and I don't want to miss it. To which I will tell you, stop it. You're being impulsive. Just wait for the market. You wait for the market, your probability of success is going to be a million times higher. By the way, I like NCLH. Today it looked good. Nice little breakout here. Could be decent. Longer term, eh. Obviously, it's wavy or choppy, but these are some nice breakouts through these lines here. Also through these highs. This could get some follow through, especially if the market continues to pop like this. So just going to set an alert here and we'll see. Okay. I subscribe, so anytime live, I will join. Hell yeah. I like to hear it, Peter. All right, guys. Like I said, I'm going to stop here. So thank you for joining. I will do another one soon. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And remember, be patient in life, even outside of trading. It will carry over into your trading, I promise. And it will make you a better trader. All right. See you guys next time.